Yo, what is up you guys? It's Dominator here. I'm back with another Pokemon tutorial video. This is a bit of an update on my shiny authentic Sinistea hunting method video. You can check that video out. I'll leave it on a card up top and then in the end screen if you want to check that out because I believe I have perfected this hunting method, even though, as you can see, I am over 10,000 total encounters for this thing without a shiny Sinistea. Shiny authentic Sinistea, and currently on this phase I am over 4,500 for this shiny Sinistea, and I mean, I have the charm. It's over triple odds. It's just ridiculously bad luck, but I'd like to say I have perfected this method, so I'm going to use this video as a little update to show you how I'm doing this. Basically, it took my encounters from getting about 100 encounters every 3-ish hours, like 100, 150. 150 encounters took me around 4 hours to get normally, but this method makes it way faster. Now, I don't know if this is like a no-brainer, but I figured I should share this because it'd be interesting. But yeah, before we begin, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. At the time we're recording this, we're like really close to hitting 5,000 subscribers, and I'm going to be doing a giveaway at 5,000, so thank you guys for all the support so far. Also, shout out to Anubis on Twitter. They originally discovered this method, and yeah, so follow them on Twitter. You can also follow me on Twitter. My Twitter link is in this little layout, but I'll leave Anubis's Twitter link in the description. So check them out, give them a follow, because they essentially discovered this method of hunting it. So, why is this method faster than when I originally showed? So, I'll do a quick rundown of this method in case you guys don't need the in-depth guide, but basically what you're going to want to do, I have Sinesteas here, we're going to avoid these. So, basically what you want to do is you want to run around, you're going to run into Nidoran males apparently. You're going to want to run around the Crown Tundra's old cemetery and try to find yourself a Sinistea. Also, keep in mind, you do not want to be doing this in foggy weather or snowstorm weather. Snowstorm is like the intense snow. There's also just straight up snowy weather, which is fine. But in foggy and in snowstorm, there is an increased chance of phony Sinistea to appear. So we got this Sinistea here. Once we have a Sinistea that spawns, we want to save. Now, I'm not going to save because I already have this set up, but once you see a Sinistea in the overworld, you want to save, and then you're going to want to encounter it. It's not shiny. I might as well add it to the counter because, I mean, it's a new Sinistea I haven't seen before, and even though it's probably a phony, I'm still going to count it because we're counting every Sinistea encounter. So, then you're going to want to catch it. I'll just use a Master Ball because it doesn't matter. We saved before we encountered it, technically. So we caught the Sinistea. If you guys already saw the first video, you know what I'm doing. We're trying to get an authentic Sinistea to be in the overworld. We're not going to name this one because this one's probably phony. We're going to go to our bag. We are going to check to see if it is a authentic. It is not because it's incompatible with the chip pod. It's a phony. So then you just reset. Now, I'm going to be back where I was before, and you essentially do that. You keep encountering Sinesteas. Like, so I reset. That Sinestea's still there. I'll encounter it and then run from it because it's always going to be a phony. They are predetermined when they spawn into the overworld. So we're going to reset. We're going to encounter it. We're going to run from it, but I'm in a different situation because I did not save. So you're going to want to do that. Now, Sinistea, if you're not in foggy weather or snowstorm weather, Sinistea has a 1 out of 20 chance of being an authentic Sinistea here. So 19% of the entire spawns in the overworld are phony Sinistea. 1% of the spawns are authentic. 1 plus 19 is 20. So you have a 1 in 20 chance of getting an authentic Sinistea to spawn in every time a Sinistea spawns in. That's a 1% chance overall because you can get other stuff. But basically, I'll show you what I got. We're going to pretend. I already saved here. We got the Sinistea here. So we saved before we encountered the Sinistea because that's what you're supposed to do. We're not going to give it a nickname. We're going to check the bag. And it's compatible with the chipped pot. Who would have thought? I actually already set this up, so I knew this thing was going to be authentic. So, we got the authentic Sinistea. We know it's authentic. We're just going to reset because we saved before it. But instead of encountering it again, we're going to leave it there. Now, also, I don't know why I didn't mention this before. Before you set up this hunt, you're going to want to get some special Pokemon, assuming they're not in your home, because sometimes you have to set up Pokemon. I got lucky and I was able to set up my Pokemon without leaving this area. So we saved here, we know this Sinistea is authentic, and we're going to want to set up our Pokemon. So I don't know why I didn't mention this before, but before you start setting up and looking for an authentic Sinistea in the overworld, you're going to want to have special Pokemon for this. Now, there are multiple options you can do. I originally led with this Uxie because Uxie gets the move Memento and Imprison, and then I also gave it Yawn and Stored Power. So, Memento faints the user, and Sinistea has the move Memento, so it's always a risk if you get a shiny Sinistea that it could just faint itself and end the battle with Memento. So I used Uxie with Imprison and Memento because Uxie can learn both these moves. And what Imprison does is it makes it so that the opponent can't use any of the same moves that the user that used Imprison has. So because Uxie has Memento and I used Imprison, Sinistea can't use Memento anymore. And then I could just yawn it and put it to sleep. And then I could use Stored Power, which is like a ridiculously weak move. And I actually set up this Uxie so that it was lowered special attack. I gave it a mint to lower its special attack, and then I EV trained it in, like, I think physical attack or something else. I think I EV trained it in special defense and speed, so it would just have no special attack stat. And then Stored Power is only a base power move, or base power 20 move, and it does, like, no damage to Sinistea. Even if I get crits, there's no risk of killing it because it just does that little damage. So I could safely weaken Sinistea and then catch it in whatever ball I want without it fainting itself with Memento. However, the issue I was running into this was that I had to switch into a different Pokemon every time to feint the Sinesteas. So that method was kind of slow, but it's a very safe method if you get a shiny authentic. So that's why I did that. What I have changed, though, is now I am leading with a Pangoro, and I would really recommend Pangoro, specifically a hidden ability one. Now, there's multiple ways to get hidden ability Pangoros. What I did is I SOS chained Pancham in Ultra Moon version. I ended up getting a shiny Pancham while doing that, too, but I SOS Pancham in Ultra Moon, and then once you get to, like, a 30 chain, the Pokemon that spawn in have a decently high chance of having their hidden ability, and then you can use strategies to, like, essentially tell you what their ability is before you catch them, which is what I did. So, I have a hidden ability Pangoro from Ultra Moon. You can also use max raid battles. I believe you can get hidden ability Pangoros from max raid battles, and then if that's too difficult, you can always just use an ability patch from the Dynamax adventures on a Pangoro to give it hidden ability. So, the ability Scrappy, what it does is it makes it so that it can attack ghost types with normal and fighting type moves. So, this setup I have for Pangoro has Crunch as its KO move. Then it has Taunt, which Taunt will prevent Sinistea from using Shell Smash, Memento, and Nasty Plot. But it can still use Shadow Ball, but Shadow Ball is weak to Pangoro, so that doesn't really matter. So Taunt will get rid of 3 of its moves, locking it into Shadow Ball, and it cannot feint itself with Taunt. And then I just False Swipe it, and then at that point, you have, with any ball, it's still like at least a 60% chance to catch, even though you can't put it to sleep. And Taunt only lasts 3 turns though, so you have to keep that in mind. But once it's at 1 HP, it's a really easy Pokemon to catch, and this is assuming you don't want to use just like a Master Ball or some really high catch rate ball. I personally want to catch Sinistea in a Safari Ball, so that's why I'm doing this. But this is a really safe method. Changing from leading with Uxie and then having to swap into Obstagoon for every encounter, leading with Pangoro just increased the amount of encounters I could get by so much. It brought me from getting about 100 encounters every 3+ hours to 150 encounters in like 2.5 hours. So it's still a long hunt, but it's significantly more quick. I don't know why I said it like that, but whatever. So we have our Sinistea here, and I'm gonna take this a step further. And as you can see, I already actually did it. But you basically want to get your authentic Sinistea in this patch of grass specifically. This patch of grass is the only patch of grass in the entire old cemetery that gets 3 overworld spawns. The rest get 2. You go over here, there's only 2 Pokemon. You go over here, there's only 2 Pokemon. And then that other patch over there, there's only 2 Pokemon. So you get your first Sinistea like I already showed you how to do. And instead of encountering it again and doing the method, you want to encounter another Sinistea. You want to just keep encountering the Pokemon, the other Pokemon in this patch, until Sinistea shows up. Then you want to save, keep doing the method, and get more Sinesteas, more authentic Sinesteas. These 3 Sinesteas here are all authentic, which means this method will work. Now, this method is basically just you encounter the Pokemon, and then you KO it. So we're going to KO this Pokemon with Pangoro, with Crunch. And when you KO a Pokemon in this game, this is a mechanic that's been in the game since day 1. If you KO a Pokemon in this game, the next spawn will be a 50% chance to be that same Pokemon. And it does apply to forms. So this is most likely an authentic Sinistea that just spawned. It can still be a phony, but it's a 50% chance to be authentic Sinistea. It's about I think it's like a 9% chance. We're going to encounter it, so I'll add that encounter. It's about a 9% chance to be a phony Sinistea. We're not going to worry about that. We're not going to check them every time because odds are the other percentage can just be anything else that spawns in. So we just KO these things until something other than Sinistea spawns, because there's no chance it's going to be authentic if it's something other than a Sinistea. And because we set up to another Sinistea is going to spawn, I'm actually not sure which one it is, so we're just going to encounter this one. But we keep getting Sinesteas. Odds are they're authentic. You can check them in battle. If you wait for it to do its idle animation and have the camera pan on it, it will show you the stamp underneath. But for time's sake, we're not going to do that. But basically, you do the method where you save in front of each Sinistea that spawns, and then you check them to see if they're authentic. And we got a Nidoran to spawn. So now we just move on to the next one. Because we got 3, normally you just get the 1 Sinistea, you're good, and then as soon as that Nidoran spawned in, we reset the game and try again. But if you continue finding more authentic Sinesteas in this patch, and so you have all 3, you essentially get 3 times the amount of encounters before you have to reset. So this, on top of leading with a Pangoro that can just one-shot them every time and is still safe to use to catch authentic Sinesteas, this is what makes this method way faster. We got an Araquanid, which is just going to run into us, but we're not going to worry about that. Now, also, keep in mind, before you start encountering these Pokemon, you also want to use a Repel. I use a Max Repel because that's the easiest. Because if you get an in-grass encounter, it will disrupt the spawn rate of the next overworld spawn. So you don't want to get in-grass encounters at all, the random like exclamation mark encounters. On top of that, the spawn increase applies to any spawn point. It's not the exact same spawn point you got this Sinistea from. For example, I encountered that Araquanid, so there's nothing that spawned in the other spawn point. We KO this one, and then odds are an authentic Sinistea will spawn back in that spawn point that we just encountered the Araquanid in. So you can also use that as your advantage to get like rapid fire encounters. It's still random chance. Obviously, I didn't get a Sinistea, but essentially that one spawns in immediately. We'll KO that one, and then because we left the other patch open, that one will spawn immediately. We'll KO that one as opposed to waiting each time. So you can use that to your advantage. But yeah, hopefully this tutorial made sense to you guys. More in-depth on how to like actually do this method in the original video. This was just more of how to set up to get it to be faster, which is like use Pangoro, and then instead of starting the hunt once you get your first authentic Sinistea, get 2 more authentic Sinesteas. Now, it could take a while. The 1 in 20 chance can be brutal. when a Sinistea spawns, but once you have all 3 of them, it's way faster of encounters than normally. Now, you'd think I'd have this thing shiny by now because I'm doing this fast method and getting like 150 encounters every time I try to hunt for this thing. When it's a 1 in 1365 chance I get a shiny, but we're just getting the worst of luck. You probably won't get as unlucky as me, so don't let my number sway you in any way, because I'm just getting ridiculously unlucky. This is one of my most unlucky hunts in terms of odds in all of main series I've had. It's almost gonna be my unluckiest hunt if I don't get it soon. So that's just luck of the draw. I'm getting ridiculously unlucky. It's very unlikely that happens to you as well. So that is basically it for this tutorial. If you guys found it useful, make sure you leave a like on the video, and that is going to be it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring those notification bells, all that good stuff. Be sure to join the domination, and I will see you in the next video.